In this video, let's look at user-defined functions in PineScript. So PineScript has quite a lot of useful functions, but sometimes you might want to create your own functions. So the reason is pretty simple. If you want to reuse your code and not just to copy it like from one place to another in your code, sometimes it makes sense to create a function, drop this code into the function, and then just call it instead of just copying all over the place. So let's look how you can create a user-defined function in PineScript. So here I have the simplest possible example. So idea is very simple. As you can see, there is no special words or something to define a function. You just put a function name, and after that, in the brackets, you list through the comma all arguments of this function. And if you want to, you can set some default values for your function as well. So basically later when I call this function, I might not pass like y argument, I can just pass only x argument, but PineScript will replace my absent argument with 1. So it's quite simple. After the like function name, basically with parameters, you have to put equal sign and greater sign, and after that you can list like single expression, basically how your function should be computed. And as you can see, it's super simple. And to call the function, you just also have to type your function name, and in brackets just list all the parameters you want to pass to the function, so it will compute the function. So basically this will adds up my numbers 5 and 10, and as I said to you, so here for example I have default value for y, and here I pass only x argument, so it will replace y with 1, so basically result will be 6 for me. So this was a super simple example of a function, a single line function, but actually you can create much more complicated functions. So here I have example of multi-line function, and idea is quite simple as well. So here I have definition of the function the same, but here I have new line and I have an indent, and this indent should be multiple of 4 spaces, so it can be 4, 8, 12, whatever. And here you can put multiple lines. So basically you can create multiple variables here, you can all other function and so on, and just in the end you can compute result you want to output, and basically the last line of your function will be expression that function will output, and this is important one. So here for example will output me only delta between MACD and signal MACD. So as you can see, idea is pretty simple as well. And it's important to know that all the kind of variables that you create inside the function, they won't be visible outside the function. So for example, I cannot just use outside the function here MACD that I created in the function. So it's called the local scope. Basically, it will be kind of erased as soon as function will be completed, so you cannot work with like variables you create in the function outside the function, but actually you can use variables you created outside the function in the function. So here for example I created some variables a and b, and I can easily use them in my function because they're from global scope and you can use them in the function, so it will work fine. Another nice thing about functions in PineScript is that you can actually output multiple variables. So here, for example, I have calculation of MACD, and if I want to output both like MACD line, signal line, and delta, I can actually output them all. I just need to enclose them into the square brackets and separate them with comma. This is called a tuple, and you can actually output it easily in a function. Just be careful when you assign a result of this function, you also have to use tuple as variables. In all other cases it won't work. So I think that's it about functions in PineScript. In the next video we will look at libraries and how you can use them.